It sounds small, almost trivial. Why would cutting your hair on a particular day matter? After all, it's just hair, dead cells, keratin, a cosmetic choice. But in many yogic traditions, there are quite cautions. Do not cut your hair on certain lunar days. Avoid trimming it during specific phases. Wait, to the modern mind, it feels like superstition. But stay with me till the end. Because once you understand how yogis view the body not as flesh alone, not as an energetic instrument, this simple act becomes far more significant. Yogis did not see hair as decorative, they saw it as sensitive. The scalp is one of the most nerve dense regions of the body. Thousands of tiny sensory receptors constantly feed information to the brain. Hair, in their view, acts like subtle antenna, not mystical in a dramatic sense, but responsive. It responds to static, temperature, environmental changes. It even stands when you feel fear or awe. Why? Because it is connected to your system more deeply than it appears. Cutting it then is not meaningless. It slightly alters how your body interacts with its environment. Yogic calendars are structured around the moon, not for poetry, for philosophy. On certain lunar days, particularly full moon, new moon, and the 11th lunar day known as Ekadashi, the body's fluid balance and emotional intensity subtly shift. The moon influences oceans. Your body is mostly water. During these days, sensitivity increases. Cutting hair, especially on highly sensitive days, was believed to disturb the already heightened nervous and energetic system, not catastrophically, but subtly. And yogis care deeply about subtlety. In yogic science, the human system contains energy channels, nadis, and centers of activity called chakras. The crown of the head is considered a particularly delicate gateway. Whether you interpret this symbolically or literally, the idea remains the head is a point of integration. On days when internal tides are shifting, yogis avoided unnecessary alterations around this region. Hair cutting was considered a small but noticeably energetic reset, and resets were done consciously, not casually. There's a quiet insight often echoed in mystic musings. Discipline is not about fear, it is about refinement. Yogis weren't afraid of scissors, they were refining their awareness. If the body is an instrument, you don't adjust its strings randomly. You tune to it when conditions are stable. There's also a psychological layer. Full moons are historically associated with heightened emotion. Even modern studies show slight variations in sleep quality and mood around lunar peaks. When emotions run higher, impulsive decisions increase. Haircuts, interestingly, are often emotional acts. Breakup, stress, reinvention, restlessness. By restricting hair cutting on certain days, yogis created pauses, moments to ask, is this clarity or impulse? What seems mystical may actually be behavioral wisdom. In traditional ascetic paths, long hair symbolized retained vitality. The idea was not vanity, but conservation. Hair cutting was seen as a minor release of accumulated biological energy. Small, yes, but in a life devoted to inner mastery, even small expenditures were intentional. On high energy lunar days, when internal currents were already dynamic, unnecessary release was avoided. The principle was simple. When the waters are turbulent, do not stir them further. There were also practical roots. In ancient times, cutting hair involved blades without modern sanitation. Certain days were avoided due to ritual fasting, temple observances, or social rhythms. Over generations, practical caution fused with energetic understanding. Tradition formed, and tradition often preserves layers of meaning long after their origins fade. Beyond biology, the head has always symbolized identity. The crown is associated with higher awareness, dignity, even spiritual connection. In many traditions, from yogis to warriors to monks, hair is handled ceremonially. Why? Because altering the head is symbolic of altering the self. On unstable days, symbolic actions were minimized. Stability first, change later. Does cutting your hair on a full moon guarantee imbalance? No, but that was never the point. The point was attentiveness. Yogic living is about aligning with cycles rather than ignoring them. You eat differently on certain days. You meditate differently on certain days. You rest differently on certain days. And sometimes you postpone small alterations, not out of fear, but out of respect for rhythm. The deeper teaching isn't about hair at all, it's about awareness of timing. Modern life encourages constant action. Yogic life emphasizes appropriate action. There is a right time to cut, a right time to begin, a right time to release. The moon was simply a clock, and the body, if observed carefully, confirms the timing. So, why do yogis warn against cutting hair on certain days? Because they see the human system as rhythmic, sensitive, and deeply interconnected with natural cycles. Hair is not just cycle. Hair is not just style. It is subtle interface. And when tides rise, emotionally, biologically, energetically, restraint. Restraint becomes wisdom. The next time you consider dismissing an old tradition as superstition, pause. Ask what pattern it might be protecting. If this perspective shifted the way you see something as ordinary as a haircut, share this with someone who thinks ancient wisdom is irrational. Like this video if you ever felt certain days carry a different energy. And subscribe for more explorations into yogic science, subtle awareness, and the hidden intelligence woven into everyday life. Because sometimes the smallest rituals guard the deepest understandings.